Hello. Hello, my dear colleagues. Perhaps I can address like this, because in this project, perhaps we all are colleagues. Somebody is taking decisions, somebody is providing financing, somebody is caring for constructions, somebody is caring for commercialization of the railway, and perhaps we all will be passengers and maybe some business who will use this railway. So thank you very much for joining today's Rail Baltica Academy. You have had a number of presentations done by my colleagues. They are perfect and very interesting. And well, today let's talk about Rail Baltica project evolution in brief. So I will not repeat the very long history back when it was a very interesting lecture telling about ancient Rome times, and the standard 1435 appeared from that time. I will tell you a story about the project development in Baltic countries, and especially from the point of view of Lithuania, because I have had a chance to be a witness of a lot of processes going on. So it was in the ministry just after Lithuania gained independence, then in the Lithuanian railways and in the Rail company. I participated in a lot of events and meetings of the ministers, prime ministers, and it will be how I see this evolution. It is not the opinion of states or official opinion from Rail company or LTG Infra. It's just my point of view to look at the projects and some kind of interpretation. But I think it is important to tell this, to know this, and to talk about this. Okay, we can move forward. So first of all, as usually, you have a possibility to ask questions. So we are using for this Slido. You can go there, put Rail Baltica Academy, or just take a photo of code in the screen, and you will have a possibility to ask a question. So I think that I'll be talking more or less about 50 minutes, and then we will have a possibility to answer your questions. Okay, so let's move forward. Okay, so how do you think, talking about prehistory, how do you think, is it always in the Baltic states it was 1520 infrastructure, or it was changed? And if it was changed, so how many times? So please decide for yourself what would you be voting for: 1 time, 2 times, or 5 times? So if you have your answers for yourself ready, so let's look how it was. So the first railway was constructed when Lithuania was in Russian Empire, and it was decided to construct Petersburg-Warsaw railway line, decided in 1851, and it was quite quickly constructed. So the standard was 1424. So let's move forward. 1915, a new army arrived at Lithuania. It was a German army at that time, and they replaced the tracks to 1435. What was later, later, after the World War I, Lithuanian Railways and Lithuania as an independent country developed a complete network 1435 and did investments to be a part of European railway system. What was later on, again, Soviet occupants changed most of the network to 1524. The Second World War, was going on, started, and then the Nazi army came to Lithuania and reconstructed the railway track once more time to 1435. Is it the end? No, it is not the end. 1944, once again, the track was changed to 1524, and later on, it's 1970, something like this. This old standard was changed to 1520. So here is the history, and perhaps we are at the moment when we really would like to put an end of this cycle, changing tracks back and again, and actually we would like to change the last time and to last permanently again to change our track into 1435 standard gauge, which is Europe standard railways. So I just written that the change of the tracks started at 1991, and it is right information, because when Lithuania regained its independence, Lithuania restored its participation in different international railway organizations, established a company, national company, Lithuanian Railways, and started a gradual modernization of its railway network, and including the development of 1435. And that as well included the speed improvements up to 160 kilometers per hour and 120 kilometers per hour for freight trains, and as well a modern communication and safety systems were installed in the network. We have Siemens, Bombardier, AGD Prague, and major systems from Europe on our network. And GSMR was constructed as well as new trains and locomotives like Siemens, PES, Skoda. And the construction of the high-speed Rail Baltica began. Yes, it is not a mistake. 1991 on high-speed Rail Baltica, but I'll explain later in my slides why actually this is true. Okay, we can go to the next slide. We can see here it is a very good open railways map website where you can put different let's say criteria, and you can see the infrastructure all over the world. And you can see here that on the right side it's 1520 network vault. And in the left side, it is black. It is Europe standard railways vault. Well, with some exceptions, like in Spain, like in Finland, like in Ireland, like in one line in Poland, like in Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. But the rest of Europe has a standard gauge 1435. So well, it is perhaps for the expert who's working in railways, this information is essential. But when I was meeting my friends and talking with relatives, sometimes it was it is a very big surprise that we have different standard gauge in Europe and in Baltic states. So perhaps it is good to show here this difference, and perhaps it is a very good map telling why and understanding why so many times infrastructure in Lithuania was changed. I do not have precise information for Latvia and Estonia. I hope my colleagues will maybe one day will do the lectures about development in Estonia and Latvia, but I assume that it was more or less the same. The infrastructure is changed by actually occupant army or by the choice of the states, and this choice is where the state wants to be, because it is not enough to enter, let's say, European Union, but as well it is necessary to integrate in the economy, in the markets, and in our case, in railways market. And with different infrastructure, you just cannot do this. And these maps is a very good illustration where we are at the moment. So here is a story about different track gauge, but there are more interesting things. Let's see about electrification. So it's 25 kilovolts, it's 1 kilovolt, 3 kilovolts. There are a lot of different electrification systems, and this is as well a problem to have a single one network possible to provide good services for business and passengers. But well, with different electrification, you can always use a diesel train, which is not good in today. But if we are talking about this, let's say independence questions, then it is not a problem to use the track if it is the same gauge. And the more complicated thing is different signaling system. So if you see in all post-Soviet area, it is the same system, and the trains can go via all network. And in Europe, we do not have this. And there are a lot of different systems, and it is problematic for trains to go from one country to the other country. So here is the view of Europe with different standards, and currently the European Commission came with an idea, not an idea, but with an initiative, with a proposal to change the network in all Europe and to have only the standard gauge tracks. And this is valid for Spain. This is valid for Ireland. This is valid for Finland. And of course, this is valid for Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. And by the way, Lithuania is very supporting this idea, because, well, with changed infrastructure 5 times in our country, we understand what does it mean actually to have a different infrastructure in your country from the economical area you want to be. So I don't know, perhaps this exercise is not very easy, and is requiring a lot of financing, and it will be a long process to do it. But perhaps here is a way forward, and Rail Baltica is actually, the first step to meet this European Union initiative. and to go to the common standards in our countries. Okay, so let's go back to the history. So actually we already, I told you about prehistory actually, and now we can go to the actual history when Rail Baltica evolution started. So 1920, the Ministry of Transport and Communications was reestablished. 1992 started a lot of meetings and a lot of formats together with Estonian, Latvian colleagues, transport ministers, a council of transport ministers was created, and all main document drafts were discussed together, and a lot of decisions were made together, and the positions was coordinated. And 1993, European Standard Railway Directorate was established in Lithuania. So it was later changed to Transport Investment Directorate, but at that time it was already clear that we want to be in Europe, and for that we need a European Standard Railway, and a special state institution was created to deliver in achieving of this aim. Okay, let's go further. So we have here 1994, and a national transport development program was prepared and approved by the government. And the main idea of this document, it was approved aim and target by Lithuanian government to be a part of the European railway transport system, including construction of European standard railways. So it's, I'm sorry, it is my slide in Lithuanian because, you know, there are old documents, 1994, so we do not have translation in our official systems, but you can find this. You can find these documents at least in Lithuanian language in Lithuanian Parliament website. Yeah, so it is written that in red that it is not valid anymore because it was changed several times during the history, but it was perhaps one of the first strategical documents of independent Lithuania at that time, just after separation from Soviet Union. And later on, it was decisions taken for concrete steps how to deliver this construction of European standard railway in Lithuania. And that time, you know, it was not so easy to become a part of transport logistic chains, because the transport system worked at that time totally, you know, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, the countries, sorry, were totally separated from Europe, and you know, it is not so easy to you know, to say one day that hello, and to become a part of transport system. So 1994, European Transport Ministers Conference was held in Crete, and Baltic states ministers were invited to participate in that meeting, and Baltic states appeared in the approved corridors. So international transport corridors, fast and 9, these branches were recognized as priorities in the transport network of Central and Eastern Europe, and well, it was first step integrating into European transport logistic chains. Okay, let's go forward. So, by the way, these corridors were corrected later on in Helsinki Transport Ministers Conference, but the essence actually left the same. So now we are arriving to 1995, and here we have Lithuanian government decision or resolution approving the design principles of a European gauge from Poland to Kaunas. So it was said that, well, we need to reconstruct the existing double track, not double track, but together 1435 is 1520 from Poland. It is a small section, and then to do some corrections, and then to design and construct a new line till Kaunas. So in 1997, it was again a government resolution creating a special commission asking to prepare a very concrete plan for the construction, asking to prepare a financing plan. The Ministry of Finance was involved at that time, and to discuss the possible financing sources as well from Lithuanian budget and as well from international banks as a loans, and it was requested to start construction of this European standard railway in 1999. So what happened? 1998, this resolution was changed and postponed because of the beginning of European Union TINA process, so-called TINA process. So what does it mean, TINA process? I will tell you just now in the next slide. So every time when European Union is enlarging, it is necessary not to prepare only, to do this legal act screening, acquis communautaire, but as well to think about necessary infrastructure, which is necessary for the new candidate countries coming to Europe to have a full integration to European Union economy. So TINA is called Transport Infrastructure Needs Assessment, TINA. And this process was a process to calculate what infrastructure it is necessary to have, how much can this infrastructure cost, and then this, when checked, calculated, analyzed, then it is, a possibility to receive European Union support. At that time, it was pre-accession funds, FARE, ISPA, something like this, and it was not enough to have the construction. So why the construction was postponed? But one more interesting information, it's 1999. The implementation of this project was not stopped, but a special plan for the construction of a European gauge from Poland to Kaunas was prepared and approved by Lithuanian government. As well, later on in 2002, it was a general territorial plan of Lithuania, and it was Rail Baltica project already with the name of Rail Baltica was included in the law, in the general territorial plan of Lithuania. And here you can see again Lithuanian, but I said it's all documents, and we do not have translated them into English. But here is a part of government decision approving Rail Baltica construction till Kaunas. And here I want to ask you questions. So sorry, I did not prepare to have this on Slido, but just let's think. What do you think? What speed was indicated into this special plan in 1999? Was it 120 kilometers per hour for passengers? Or was it 160 kilometers per hour for passengers? Or maybe it was 250 kilometers per hour or 300 kilometers per hour. So you need to make your guess, your decision, and here the right answer goes on the screen. So this special plan, 1999, was prepared for 250 kilometers per hour railway line coming to Kaunas. But as well as you can see here, I will choose a laser. Yeah, you can see here. The third point said that implementation of European railway standards from Poland to Kaunas will be in 2 phases. The first phase, the train speed was foreseen 160 kilometers per hour, and in the second 250 kilometers per hour. Why so? The answer is very simple. If you go to the website and Lithuanian Parliament and find this government decision, you will see a table with financial calculations, which said at that time that 160 kilometers can be constructed, but 250 kilometers, all economical indicators were actually negative. And it is normal because there were no, at that time, possibility to construct 1435 railway till Latvia and in Latvia and in Estonia. So the economical benefits only from the line to Kaunas was actually negative. So it was decided that the route will be chosen. It was chosen the very straight route, 250 kilometers per hour speed, and foreseen all separate level crossings and etc. But and double track, by the way. But in the first phase, it was an idea to construct 160 kilometers per hour train, 1 track, but to have all land necessary and all design ready to have 250 kilometers per hour. So, well, I will tell later why this did not happen and why we constructed actually only 120 kilometers per hour in section from Poland to Kaunas. So let's move to the second slide. And here we have 2004, and we all entered European Union, and we became a family of Europe. And we were very, very happy at that day, and we are, I hope still, at least I am, and my friends are happy today that we are in European Union, and it opens a lot of possibilities for development, and it happens with Rail Baltica project as well. So it was first named as a priority project number 27, going from Warsaw to Tallinn, and it was Rail Baltica railway project first time in European Union documents. And before this, it was a lot of you know, very hard work to convince Europe that we need this. And you know, the approach of European Union changed over the years. So at that time, you were asked to prove that this infrastructure, this route is, you know, a part of transportation system. And I remember at that time, before entering European Union started invited us already to participate, the states to participate in different meetings in the European Council or Commission working groups, just as observers. And we were, you know, doing drawings on slides, not on like now in the computer, but just printing of this, I do not even know the word, this, you know, like transparent film, and drawing with, you know, pencil of Europe, that here is a corridor, here is the cargo, and we need investments to this. Before we entered European Union, it was, you know, one answer that it is not mature, maybe it's too early, and we received a lot of money for different studies. And if to take all Rail Baltica studies from 1991 to put in one room, it will be perhaps full room of different studies done for Rail Baltica project. But well, if we cannot construct, then let's do studies and move forward step by step. So 2004, entering European Union, it was a very critical point, approving Rail Baltica as a project which is even priority project in the European Union. And at that time, it was even exceptional project with the possibility to receive 30% perhaps financing, because TEN-T fund, it was, you know, we are talking about TEN-T fund, and TEN-T fund, it was usual to have 15% of European Union support intensity, or even the projects in Germany or Austria, even 7.5% or 8%. It was such an intensity of European Union financing at that time. And project number 27, I think, received, if I right remember, 27% of support level, and it was quite high, but it was necessary to have a lot of your own resources from the company or from the state budget. So when we had this, then 3 countries, even 4 countries prepared a common application for TEN-T fund to start constructions for Rail Baltica and to prepare for the future Rail Baltica. So at that time, here is, the pictures of agreed activities and budget, and there are signatures of councillors, of transport ministers from Poland, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, and I just was responsible for preparation of this application. So I remember that I was sending a fax to Warsaw, a fax to Riga, a fax to Tallinn, getting all these signatures and then sending them to Europe, showing that we have unity, we have one voice, we have one strategy, and we have a desire to implement Rail Baltica project. So and we succeeded actually, and we received financing for doing some studies, some detailed technical design, and as well for the construction. But at the same time, in this application was included the study for the future Rail Baltica, because it is not enough to have 1435 up to Kaunas, even if it is a high-speed line, and not to have the track to Latvia and in Estonia. So it was decided to ask money to prepare study how we are going to move forward. So there were more applications than in 2006, 2007, 2009, but in essence, we can tell, we can look what two main, let's say, streams it was. We can call so Rail Baltica 1 before IACOM study and Rail Baltica 2 after IACOM study. So Rail Baltica 1, here I can tell you a story why it was not constructed 160 railway track to Kaunas, but only 120. Well, it was started land acquisition procedures, and at that time we were not so lucky to have all necessary legislation and good legislation for project implementation at that time. Well, after separation of Soviet Union, there are no legislation at all. It was a Soviet legislation, which was a question, if it's valid, and at that time, and especially if to talk about 1998, 1990s, 99, when this special plan was approved, it was economical blockade from Russia. We, for those who perhaps remember that there were no petrol in petrol stations, and it was lacking food, and mafia all around, and etc. etc. So yes, we had such a time in the history, and at that time, in that perspective, the decision to construct 250 kilometers per hour railway was adopted. But still, the land acquisition legislation was not very good even after joining the European Union, because the land plots, according to this 1999 special plan, was sold and bought several times, and the price was incredible. It was billion of liters to buy all this land, and it was much more, several times more expensive than infrastructure itself. And at that time, a question appeared, in the air, what we are going to do. It was a very huge involvement of European Commission and Lithuanian government at that time. What we are going to do? Do we need to find some billion liters and to buy, this land several times more expensive than market price? But to implement the project, yes, with the line 250 kilometers per hour, with the route, with a constructed infrastructure for 160, or we are going to do something different. And at that time, a decision was taken. It was an official letter from European Commission received, and later on the resolution of government taken that, we cannot have at the moment high-speed line, but we still need to connect to European Union railway market and railway world. So the decision was taken to use the land we have near the existing 1520 line and to construct 1435 tracks to Kaunas. And then follow, the IACOM study, let's say, suggestions, results, and move forward with the next phases of Rail Baltica implementation. And of course, if you are constructing railway near the current system, curves and all other parameters, they are not allowing for you to do a high-speed railway construction. So we appeared with 120 kilometers per hour speed railway for passengers and 80 kilometer per hour speed for cargo. And today, this line actually is working. We have, in average, 60 trains per month, or 2 trains every day coming from this line. This line is used very much for Ukrainian cargo as well. So we are proud that we can help Ukraine here using this line, transporting different type of goods, oil and grain and etc. But it's not a current solution that we would like to have in the future, and especially this line do not have signaling, do not have electricity. It's not electrified, so the design speeds actually are limited even to the lower parameters because of traffic safety. And as a second output of, let's say, the same application, agreed application to European Union, it was IACOM study delivered in 2010, 2011. And this study suggested to construct a totally new line, 240 kilometers per hour from that time, and avoid all the existing infrastructures. Okay, so what happened with Rail Baltica 1 application and activities foreseen there? So they are successfully finished. The 1435 was constructed, and I said we have about 60 trains per month on this track. And European Commission in 2016, it was even this project called as a success story and published in North Sea Baltic Corridor European Commission website. Yes, and perhaps here is an end of Rail Baltica 1. And now what we are doing today, so it is Rail Baltica 2 from this application, from the same application. And I like this slide very much because this regional cohesion is very, very informative what Rail Baltica project is giving for us. So here, if you see Tallinn, we see Riga, and it is necessary 10 hours to receive Riga from Tallinn in the existing rail at that time, 2010, 2011. And if we are using a car instead of rail, then from Tallinn, we can reach Riga in 4.4 hours, and from Riga to Kaunas, we can reach in 4 hours as well. And here, to use road or railway, Riga and Kaunas from Tallinn, actually it is at the same distance if to take into consideration the time. And okay, if we are investing in the railways, the current railway, let's say doing some improvements, like it was, the idea of Rail Baltica 1, then we can receive as well quite huge benefits. And let's say doing this in the time necessary for travel perspective, Tallinn, Warsaw appears, even more close than Kaunas if we would use a road or a car. But here, the red one, it is Rail Baltica, what we are constructing today. And, we see Tallinn at the same time necessary to reach like Warsaw. You see this regional cohesion. So it is very, very good indication and very good outcome from IACOM study what we are doing with Rail Baltica, the current Rail Baltica implementation. So we are just putting Warsaw more close to Tallinn than we have today Tallinn and Riga distance. So it is very, very, very good, I think, study and good conclusions. And then it was the conclusions by ministers and prime ministers approving this approach, starting a task force, special interministerial task force for implementation of this project, and inviting Polish colleagues to join this task force. And it was a lot of joint declarations and a lot of documents signed, agreements approved by all three state parliaments to implement this project. The critical date was date 2013, when there were a lot of discussions because of Vilnius, Lithuanian capital. The idea of European Union, it is to have capitals connected like a metro, stations. And Vilnius was left aside. And later on, IACOM did additional investigations and upgrade of the original study, and it showed that Vilnius delivers a lot of benefits to the whole project, and the financial indicators became much more better joining Vilnius into the project. And by the way, I don't know if Janis is listening this, let's say, my presentation. My colleague from Latvia, your slides and your calculations did a very great job and put the final, full stop to this issue when the three prime ministers were discussing, this question regarding the Vilnius accepting to the project. So your calculations and your slide did the last job to have Vilnius in the project. And At that time, it was a lot of discussions regarding infrastructure management, infrastructure ownership, but all these questions were decided, and shareholder agreement of the joint venture was negotiated, and the joint venture, which was a part of these decisions, was created in 2014. And we started implementation of totally new Rail Baltica projects. So why sometimes during discussions of articles in the media, the previous story is called not Rail Baltica, or there are some discussions. Yeah, but now we think that you can do your own, let's say, decisions and opinions, and actually it doesn't matter. It is Rail Baltica, it is not Rail Baltica, but what matters that Baltic states are coming to European Union railway market, and here is the most important thing. Well, by accepting IACOM study decisions, it was quite huge headache how to implement this, because as I showed you in my previous slides, a lot of decisions by the governments and even in the law was done. So, for example, if you see here the B option, what was Rail Baltica indicated in the law, in the general plan of Lithuania. And at that time, legislation was such that you cannot change this. If you are doing a special plan, you need to do this according to the general plan. So it was a lot of, again, discussions and a lot of, efforts paid how to find a way out of the situation, and we did this successfully. We proved this, that option A, the direct line to Tallinnas, it is better, it has better economical, results, more benefits, and we managed as well to do everything transparent and clear from the point of view of legislation, and special plan was finished with option A, like proposed by IACOM study, land acquisition done, and even today the construction is already going on in this Kaunas, Latvia part. Okay, now, well, the European Union has, and we all together has, a lot of great policies and targets, and in the transport sectors, the targets are very ambitious, and we can see this targets on the screen. And well, the shifting cargo from road sector to rail, to double high-speed lines in Europe. So it's a lot of big challenges how to achieve this, and it will be not so easy. And well, sometimes people are thinking that shifting cargo from roads to railway, it is somehow a fight with a road sector, but not at all. One of Rail Baltica global forums, we have had Mr. Lohman, speaker, the head of SER, I think at that time, and he showed forecasted cargo grow in the Europe, and in his slide it was indicated that if we will be going with the investment like usual business, we will have 1 million of additional trucks in our streets in European Union. So well, I think that Rail Baltica is the answer for us all, how to achieve this European Commission and our goals, not to fight with different sectors, but sorry, but just is a way how to tackle the growth and the growth of the cargo. The recent news, January of this year, the three ministers signed a statement that the project must be implemented by 2030. And the geopolitical situation changed perhaps the project priority from the priority project to the project must happen, and so we all have deadline 2030, and we are looking very seriously to it. Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, and the joint venture. So the first sections, we would like to start some operation, perhaps even in 2028. Sorry. Full implementation till 2030. So you saw already perhaps this slide several times in previous presenters' presentations and in the future presentations. So well, here is the current Rail Baltica project. We are all working very, very hard to deliver this project. So I think that it is the end of my presentation. I hope that I presented some interesting, maybe, point of view and some facts from the history. As I said, I was witness of a lot of these processes myself. It is not here time to tell some piquantic stories, because there were a lot of very, interesting situations, interesting stories, but this perhaps can be written in the future history books or some articles. Perhaps it is even too early to talk about them, but the project is very, very interesting and very, very challenging. But I think that today we are just very strongly moving to the approach, one project, one team, the single unified solutions, and I am pretty sure that we will succeed with the help, of course, with all stakeholders, and we will have a possibility to ride Rail Baltica train in 2030. So thank you very much for your attention and for staying here, for listening, and I'll try. We have still several minutes. I will try to look if we have any questions and maybe read them. Yeah, okay. So I'll read them and try to answer. Okay, the anonymous guy is asking what are economic benefits of converting to 1545mm gauge? Well, the benefits, if to talk about Rail Baltica benefits, so it is calculated that at 2018, Ernst & Young done CPA, before war, before all these changes, let's say, in economic and prices. At that time, it was calculated that if you are investing 5.8 billion euros into Rail Baltica project, you are receiving 18 billion euros of social economical benefit in 2050. So here is talking about Rail Baltica project benefits, but if to talk about the converting of to 1545 gauge, as I told, this European Commission initiative in all Europe, well, it is a valid question, and of course these calculations will be done. But I think that the benefits will be great, because with a different infrastructure, you cannot actually be a part of railway market. And well, you saw what happened in the road transport, and you saw what happened in civil aviation. I do not know if you remember the prices of the plane tickets before this liberalization of aviation. It was huge prices. It was even, you know, a simple equipment very expensive because it's aviation safety, etc., etc. And after you know, dismissing all these barriers, you know, the law price companies appeared, and a huge you know, competition, and well, the you know, the passengers are winners of these processes. It says that we are already 1 hour. Yeah, but we perhaps still can be together for several minutes. Yeah. So and here in the Baltic states, actually, well, I don't know what about, you know, Ireland or Spain. Maybe their situation is a little bit different, but Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, in essence, we are in infrastructural isolation, like a peripheral countries of European Union. And it's a question: do we want to be? And of course, it has an economical benefits behind. So it is just a new idea. So I cannot tell you exact figures because the calculation, they are not done. Well, at least in Lithuania, it is foreseen to prepare all network study and to analyze how we can do this, when we can do this, where, what infrastructure do we need to have. And well, perhaps you are aware about Lithuanian plans to construct 1435 to Klaipėda seaport, and it's some kind like a decision taken to go with this infrastructure. So actually we are doing this, and calculations will follow. The next question is, what are the major milestones achieved in the implementation of Rail Baltica so far? So, okay, to be short, so we already have one step completed. So we have 1435 network till the middle of Lithuania to Kaunas, to intermodal terminal. And this can be used as well for benefit of Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, or even Finland, Ukraine, just you know, to start a new logistic chains and new business services north-south direction. And just when the Rail Baltica will be finished, then we will be already ready and maybe some logistic chains prepared. Perhaps the next step, we had financing, significant part of financing secured by from European Commission, from the states. We have design going on in all three countries, Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia. We have construction going on in Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. So Latvia, it is mainly Riga station, airport station, and some more constructions in Latvia. In Estonia, it is bridges, viaducts, overpasses. In Lithuania, it is construction of railway line, embankment, and Neris bridge from Kaunas to Latvia, and all land acquisition done, everything in this part. In Kaunas, Poland, Kaunas, Vilnius sections, there are territorial planning and the finalization stage, and procurements for technical design announced. So I should say that well, a lot of significant steps are done and milestones achieved, and we have, all possibilities to finish this project. Yeah, perhaps the main milestones. Some infrastructure we have, construction going on, design under finalization, and plan how to finish the project till 2030. The next question by Anonymous is what are the future prospects and anticipated benefits of the completed Rail Baltica project? Well, to tell shortly, so we will become a real part of European Union railway market, a real, not de jure, but as well de facto, the part of European Union railway system. We will be more safe because geopolitical aspect is very important in these days. We will be able to provide a very good services for passengers and as well for business. We just will put, Warsaw as it now it is Riga, if we're talking about regional, let's say, cohesion and benefits. Well, if it was calculated in 2018 that the benefits are 18 billion euros. So perhaps through the new CBA calculation and taking the all new prices, these benefits will be even better and bigger. And once more, Anonymous asked the question, why was Rail Baltica route changed from Šiauliai, where military bases, to Panevėžys, where there is nothing. Klaipėda seaport is also closer to Šiauliai. Okay, we received a lot of questions like this, discussing this. But if to just go back quickly to the slide, yes, to the slide, to this. So perhaps this green line would be if we would have the line via Šiauliai, and the red is via Panevėžys. So you see, if from the time perspective, if the line via Šiauliai, here is Kaunas, and with the selected approach via Panevėžys, the Warsaw appears at the same place where it is Kaunas. So the answer would be very simple, because you cannot construct a high-speed railway near the existing infrastructure. So we tried this to do from Poland to Kaunas, and it is obvious that, well, maybe you can have a speed of 160 kilometers per hour in some places, but all curves, all objects, and this old existing line, they just you cannot reach your benefits. So why Panevėžys was selected. And it seems that it is all the questions. So I would like to thank very much for Anonymous for asking 4 questions. I hope I answered some. If you have more questions, you can find me on LinkedIn or other, via other ways, and you can write the questions, and I'll try to do my best to answer. And today, I would like to thank you very much for participating, for listening, and to invite to the future lectures of Rail Baltica Academy. Much more we know all together, the better understanding between all stakers. So our mission is not to do something to deliver the project, but as well to share the information and all facts and everything, and to be very transparent. And so, yeah, perhaps that's it. Thank you very much, and bye.